long story short, dude, there's just been a lot going on. Like, if I'm being honest, probably since 2019, like a lot of stuff internally, I think within me, a lot of stuff changed, leading all the way up to today. And I did a pretty overall, I don't want to say a bad job because I did good. I overall I felt pretty good, but by my standards, a bad job of how I manage things. Because coming up, I've always been a Juggalo growing up since I was a little kid, and so I was doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, the radio shows or helping out at live shows, gatherings, things like that. But I never was really in the loop, And then I got kind of pulled into the loop. It was November 2018. I remember I was in New York, and I got a call, and they were looking for a new social media manager. Whether they had a falling out or however that happened, they were in need, and they were like, would you like to fill that role, So I was like, fuck yeah, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'll rock that out. So I was like, I'm in New York now, but I come back this week, and we'll set up a meeting. And so I did that, went and did the meeting, had it, everything went well. I was excited. I remember, man, I knew social media, but I remember in that moment, I was so hyped. Like, when I got that call, I'm like, dude, my brain was going a million miles a minute. I'm like, we could do this. So when I got into the meeting, I tried to lay out a blueprint of what it was. And I remember sitting in there, I go, with all due respect, I think the social media thing, it's not that it's bad, but I think it could be a lot more fun with what we do here, So I laid out some ideas. Everybody seemed to be on board. And, that kind of sparked that. It went quick though, and again, going back to being a good human, if you will. I remember doing a lot of things, making posts and stuff, and I get excited about certain things we had upcoming and things like that, and then there'd be a lot of negativity in the comments. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, this is crazy. Like, we're having fun, we're making fun here, we're doing a lot of positive stuff. But there would be these and I'm like, all right, well, some people are just haters. You can't please everybody. That's just the world, especially social media. But then a lot of things started to pique my interest. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Mm-hmm. So I really started to look into some of these comments about certain things, and it started off with simple things. Like, I remember we were doing a merch drop, and I was pumped for it, and then there was a lot of comments like, oh, well, fucking, I'm not buying shit because I didn't get my last order. This one was fucked up, and nobody got a hold of me. Nobody did this. And I'm like, then there was a lot of them, right? There was a lot, to the point where I'm like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, this doesn't seem right. So, Dan, have a good one, man. Have a good one. I appreciate you. So I noticed that, and it kind of started to unravel, like a darker hole. You know what I'm saying? Of where I was at, and there was a lot of wrongdoings being done, that started off small and minute, where I'm like, this is no problem. We can just fix this. We gotta get a hold of this guy. Who's this guy that runs this? Let me reach out to him. We can, if we set this up and do this. So there was like a structure. It's business. At the end of the day, this is all a business. You attach your feelings to it. That's one thing, but don't ever misconstrue the fact that this is a business. So when you peel back those layers, you start seeing other things and other problems. And there was a lot of ugliness that was going on, behind the scenes, that I was not comfortable with at that time. And everything that was so peachy and bright and such a vibrant, should have been a dream come true, was slowly in front of my face becoming a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? And I was noticing it. And then it reared its ugly face at a show. And there was one moment that changed that, where I saw somebody backstage crying, physically upset. And, trying to be a good human, you ask why, what's wrong, what's happening. And I was, filled in on a lot more things that I was very unaware of, and I made a vow to that person that when I get back, I'm going to get to the bottom of things. right? I'm going to start because this is not right. And if this what you're saying is true, these things need to be addressed. So there was a lot of turmoil, man. It was not an easy gig by any means. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, and when people find out you start doing that, more people come out the woodwork. More people start reaching out because they hear about what I'm doing, and they're like, yo, well, I got this problem, and can you look into this, and can you look into... So now you went from focusing on the small problem to a big one, and now everybody sees what you're doing, and everybody is like, oh my God, I need help. Like, this is not right. This has not been going right. And it quickly spoiled my view of things. And I was very uncomfortable. I was pissed off. I was very angry at I didn't want to say a lot of people, you know, but I was very upset at the situation I was in, and at the point at, you know, a certain individual. And I held a lot of that resentment in, and I was ready to quit. I was ready to leave. I had everything ready to go. I said my goodbyes behind the scenes, you know, and was ready to tap out and go do my other thing. But as I get into that meeting, I say, hey, this is what's going on. I don't like this. I don't like this. This is fucked up. This isn't, you know. All of a sudden the tables got turned, and it was like, don't go. We want you to help us save this company. And it went from me ready to check out and go back to like my life of what I was doing. And now here I am being asked to be, if you will, like a savior. You know what I'm saying? And I can't run from that. Like, there was something in me that just wanted to go back. Like, hey, man, that's cool. I'll go back to, you know, doing what I was doing, rock it out. You know, this is above my pay grade type thing. But then when you have so many people reach out to you, and they message you, and they talk to you, and they call you, and it's, please don't go. We need you. We've been waiting for, you know, this is damn near like Last Hope type shit. It sounds like a movie. You know what I'm saying? And it was, which led into, what is that? So now we're in 2019. This is like the summer of 2019. The next fucking year up until 2020 was hands down the worst time of my life. Like, there's no way to put it. And I'm not going to go into crazy detail today, but I will. I will be going into that. But my time, look, if I'm just being honest with you guys, my full time, when I was there full time at Psychopathic, was one of the worst experiences of my life. There's no way to paint that. And it got so ugly to a point where when COVID hit and we were kind of into the Shaggy and the Creep show, we decided that's it. You know, I wasn't going to move forward with them. They didn't want to move forward with me. And you know, you had one half of the people wanted to ride with me, and the other half did not want to ride with me. And it created a very divisive, setting. You know what I'm saying? And it was bad. So I've said it before. I mean, it's clear. There's nothing to hide there. Shaggy and the Creep Productions was never under Psychopathic Records. Psychopathic Records did not like Shaggy and the Creep. There was never a time they rooted for us. You know, which is it created a lot of. You know, I hear at one point I know what I did was the right thing, right? So you face that. But on the other point, it's like, this has gotten so ugly. It's gotten so out of hand, you know, and you just want to make people laugh, and you want to make people have a good time. And here you are caught in the middle of something where this was the last thing on your mind. This is the last thing on your plate that you thought was going to happen or that you were going to be doing, you know? And in that, I always said that time there when we branched off and did that, think of like an empty parking lot. And of an abandoned building, and then you see that flower that comes up through the crack somewhere. It's like, it was such a desolate, a toxic, dirty, downright dirty scenario, and out of what we found to get some beauty out of it. You know what I'm saying? And it had a good running, you know, and then I'm not obviously not happy with how things ended. It never sat right with me, you know. I never got any nobody fucking sat down with me one-on-one or, you know, said, hey, this is why. And that's just not the cloth I'm cut from. You know, I'm cut from, you sit down, you talk about your problems. You know, I've always been that way. That's how I got there. You know, that's what I fought for, those people that really needed fighting for there. And that's just how I operate. You don't scare me. Nobody scares me, you know. There's no reason you can't sit down in any scenario. I don't care if you're in a relationship, you know, if it's a work thing, a friend thing, a spouse thing. You sit down and you talk to one another. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I've always operated. And I lost sight of that. I lost sight of that from trying to fix so many problems, right? And I was in my head, man. Like, it was a very dark play. It was a dark time. You know, you feel like you're fighting the good fight, and everybody wants you to fight for it. But when it's time to put up or shut up, you're the only one ready to fight, you know? And, you know, everybody wants that vision that could be at the end of the tunnel, but nobody really wanted to stand by your side and fight with you. They wanted you to fight for them, you know? And that's where it was. Now, I carried some animosity. You know, I don't think I ever properly really sat down and thought about it with a calm, collected, cool head over everything. Because don't get me wrong, I'm very appreciative of everything. I'm very appreciative for the opportunities that I was given, for the experiences I had. If I died tomorrow, guys, I've done some fucking really cool shit. I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? I truly am. But yeah, it was a dark time, and I never wanted to. I'm not a drama guy. I don't do drama. You know, I don't do clickbait views. I don't need that. You know, I don't need to fucking shit on somebody to create drama, to get some views, to get my buzz up. That's not how I live my lifestyle. I'm not a rapper. I'm not going to go make a rap beef. You know, that shit's stupid to me. All that shit's dumb. To me, personally, that shit's dumb. I don't do that. Like, there's something about being men and being, you know, good humans. You sit down, you work your problems out. And to this day, I believe that. But in that moment, dealing with all that and letting it fester, I mean, you guys got to understand the weight that bears, you know, because I'm going up against something I was never ready to go up against. And I know what the problem is, you know, we all know it. We knew what the problem was, but the problem, it wasn't, it's like I said, when the rubber met the road, you know, people weren't ready to do what they talked about being about, you know, and that's the unfortunate part. Now, you want to make me, I wanted to just make people laugh. I want to make people happy. That's always been my dream. That's been my goal. I'm a people person, like, straight up. I love people. I love the team atmosphere. That's why it's the Creep team, you know. I love that part, you know, and it's sad. You grow up loving one thing, and you think you know, this is a dream come true. And then when you see it, and you start peeling back these layers, it's not what it seems to be. And it's, you know, it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's absolutely, your heart gets ripped out of your chest because you don't want to believe it, and you're standing in it and you see it. You know what I'm saying? But I'll say this, everything starts with leadership. Okay? Everything starts with leadership. And if a company's failing and the company's doing something you don't like, if a company's fucking you over and you buy something and you don't get it, or there's no quality control, or a company promises you things and they're not delivering. This can be any company, by the way. You get to plug in Target. I don't care who you plug in. If there's issues that are mounting, and the people that are working for that company are not happy, and they know there's wrongdoings, and your customers, your customers are not happy. There's a lot of them very upset that they're feeling they're being taken advantage of or lied to. And in a lot of instances, let's say they're right. Who do you look at? Who would you guys look at in that instance? Who should take the brunt of that? I'm curious to see if anybody thinks that way. Plug in the someone's not creep. Hey, creep team for life. That's for sure. That's forever and a day. But no. I'm saying a company in general. You would look at the CEO. I would start there, and that's what I did. And when I found out a lot of the inner workings and how everything's ran there, it was horrible. I mean, there's the leadership. Like, you need to, if you want to be a CEO, if you want to be a big boss, if you want to, run a company, you want to fucking take all the glory that comes with it. Maybe you don't want the glory. Maybe you just want the good paycheck and good stuff like that. Then do right. Be ready to be a leader. If you're not ready to be a leader, you shouldn't have a spot at the table, in my opinion. And that's fine. Not everybody wants that. It's a lot of fucking burden to take on. Look, when I was at my old company and I would just go in as a whatever employee, as a salesman, do my thing, life was easy. I could get fucked up. I could go party. I didn't have the responsibilities. When I also hopped into the role of being a partner of that company, my views changed, right? So in my cell phone store, it was different. Now it wasn't just a party. Now it's like, oh, I'm in charge of somebody's payroll. This person is relying on paying their bills through me in this company. We need to make sure we have something structured, set up. I want to make sure people are happy. I want people to want to work for me, right? Like, it's a whole different mindset from being a worker to a manager to a CEO, okay? And that's, to me, your problems start at the top. You have to set a precedent. There has to be a leadership there, and it's not there. It didn't exist. I don't know how it runs now. I've been far removed from that place, but that did not exist. And I do not like the CEO. I can't stand him. I've looked evil in the eyes, and it's evil. You know what I'm saying? And when that's the problem, and everybody's like, no, he's a big fucking problem. Like, he's been a problem for years, and nobody knows it. Nobody talks about it. He does a good job at hiding in the shadows, which is very interesting, And I carried that resentment. Like, I seen it firsthand. I've been in those meetings. I've looked at it. I've called him out on multiple times. Everybody's like, no, you gotta, bro, please, like, we know we fucked up, having him at the seat at the table, and I'm like, all right, I'll do, like, I can do this. I can have the game plan ready. I can put the bullets in the gun. I can buy the gun. I can get it. I can't give you that. Like, you gotta pull the trigger. You gotta be ready to do that. So it was a very toxic thing. I'm very happy. My life, don't get me wrong, is very happy being well removed from that aspect of it. And it was a horrible place. And there's so many testimonies, and I'm not going to pull nobody's name out, if they ever feel comfortable enough to speak up or talk, but they should, and I've been suppressing these things because a part of it is I know it can be changed. I know it can be fixed, and it shouldn't be a public issue. It shouldn't. This should all be handled behind closed doors. It should. And it was. It was being done like that. And, when I say I don't live in my fears, I truly don't. And that was a perfect example. It's talking about this, it's never been because I'm in fear of anybody. Like, nobody there I fear. That's dumb. And they shouldn't fear anybody. You shouldn't do that. Well, the only thing that I was really scared of was, I guess, the community as a whole. Because when there's cracks in the foundation, and it's as murky and as gloomy and dark as it was, you don't want to take that joy from people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, this shouldn't be something that was there. This should have been handled. And the problem is things leak. There's people with emotions. There's, there's a lot of things. Drugs can alter somebody, but the lies, the drugs, the deceit, the absolutely foul things that if this was any other company and I plugged in a name that was being done, you would all be screaming, and we would all be talking about it. And You wanted to protect that. And being someone who cares about this community and this scene, you want to protect that. You want to protect people, because I'm thinking we can fix this. We can fix this. Nobody, it doesn't. Nobody like a smooth transition. We got this. You're giving me a problem. You're giving me a problem. The warehouse people giving me a problem. This guy's giving me a problem. This, all these people are giving me, and I'm telling people, give me your problems, because I need to know what the problems are so I can come up with a game plan. I would go home, guys, every night, and I would lay things out, and I would put them down, and I had all these notes taken. All right, well, if I take care of this problem, this will solve this, and if I plug this in here, I'm telling you, I was like borderline a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we can do this. We can make this right. Everything just needs a little tweaking, And I worked hard, and I think I spent too much time on it, man. And when it was closing its days, and it's hard because we're trying to push a product and a view and a vision, now doing these vlogs and things, to where we're like, man, let's just have fun. Let's just be us. Let's get back to the roots of what it is. Let's not live under that cloud. Let's do our own thing. You know what I'm saying? Let's fucking do what we know we can do, and just, it doesn't matter how dark it gets. Let's make people laugh. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I loved every minute of it. It was what you saw in a podcast, in a vlog. That was raw. That was real. There was not like, that was the love I have. You know what and I know, hey, we'll call it what it is. We're not friends. I can't even say that I'm friends with them anymore. Not by my choice. You know what I'm saying? The love I have, truly, and this is what really hit me this week too, and I'll get into that. I was mad at everybody because everybody turned their back on me, and everybody knows it behind the scene. I've got, I never wanted things to get ugly. I never cared about getting a paycheck. I wasn't going to sue anybody. Like, that was never my moral thing. I just wanted it to be good. I wanted everybody to be taken care of. I wanted to lead with love, fix this ship. I want the families taken care of as they should be, treated with respect as they should be. Everybody should be flourishing. That was a horrible. I don't want to undersell this. I don't want to and I don't want my words minced. And I know some people are hearing this and they're probably pissed off, and you're probably going to unfollow me, or you probably want to debate me, and that's fine, man. I'm not here to fight. I'm not here to argue. But I'm done not being thinking I can't talk about it when that's just not the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, my time at Psychopathic Records, and just that company, not talking Shaggy and the Creep, that was SC Pals LLC. That was a different company. I'm talking Psychopathic Records was the most horrible experience of my life as a whole. When you weren't, when I was working for them, doing other things, doing shows before I really got my foot in the door, it was different. I didn't meet the people that I met. It was and it shouldn't be. That's the problem. Is it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, I'll believe it. I believe it in my heart. And I pray for it. I pray for it every day. I pray for that the problems get fixed. But my anger and my love, it has nothing to do with Joe and Joey. I love Joe and Joey. I know they probably don't love me. For whatever reason, I don't know. The psychopathic mantra, and it just is what it is. Nobody really talks about anything. Things happen, and then you move on, and nobody really talks. You go about as business as usual, and that's just that's the way of operating over there. So when I used to joke around and say I got blipped, I mean you do get blipped. It needs to be Men in Black wiped off, like it never existed, right? Which of course that pissed me off at first, but I know the truth. They know the truth. I love those two. And I pray for them. If you were to lock all three of us in the room and sit down and talk, there'd be no reason for any of us to be mad at each other, right? I've come to terms with closure. I don't need that. I know that day's not going to come. I'm well aware of that. I'm appreciative of my time there. However, I just I have no respect, and I know the evils of that and the problems that lie within. And now I don't know how it's structured now, but when I was there, it was very clear I was at war with the CEO, you know, and that's the problem. So I, you know, after all that, there was a big, on this channel, we probably had the biggest falling out, I think, with members of this community, which is fine. You know, people are going to leave. People are going to leave after today. I'm well aware of that, by the way. And God bless you. I love y'all. If you head out, this is too much. You're hearing things you don't want to hear. Hey, I hear you because I lived it. You know what I'm saying? I lived every moment of it. But all I ever wanted was the best for it, you know, and I was told so many lies being there, and I uncovered so many lies. And when I brought, you know, Alex onto this show, give me, and I want this on the record, give me, to this day, I'll take Alex 7 days a week over Billy Bill any day. 7 days a week. Okay? I'll always say that. So I don't know Alex like that. But when I was able to contact him, and we had a very long talk, and I filled him in on a lot of things, I learned so much, and he was like, I didn't know this was being said. I would love to sit down with the boys and talk to them. And I was like, look, I'm not in contact with them anymore, but he was like, well, I'm going to be in town. You know, you want to get dinner? You want to sit down and chat? So I did. I took him up on that offer gladly. I would love to talk to someone. I don't know him. He could be lying to me the whole time. I don't fucking know. The problem is I know that there is an issue going on. Okay? So I had a multiple long talks with Alex. He did not want to, he didn't ask to come on my show. I asked him, you know, and he told me, he was like, I just know how this works, and you're going to be blacklisted. I was like, brother, I don't do anything with that anymore anyways. You know what I'm saying? What, am I going to get doubly blacklisted? So, but he was right. Even the people that I did consider friends, everybody was gone after that. Everybody turned their back on me after that stream. I'm talking behind the scenes. There's a lot of people within this community that did as well, and that's fine. But everybody really turned their back after that stream. And my sole purpose of that was to put it out there and to put it, this wasn't to take a jab. This wasn't to hurt anybody's feelings. I wanted them to know, guys, hey, we've got a lot of questions and things. He would love to sit down with everybody and talk. And I think we need to talk. Okay. And that message was not received. And it's sad, because to me that was the last Hail Mary to get some solutions, some answers to problems. But I'll say this: when I went in to and I went there to Psychopathic full time, I'll never forget the employees in there, the office workers, the warehouse workers. They would joke around because I was excited, right? I got my own desk now, like I get to go in there, and they're like, "You better not, like, just don't, make sure you don't ever go to Billy's office. Make sure you don't." And I'm thinking, why? We're in the entertainment business. This should be, we're not the mafia. We're not the cartel. We're not a shady casino. Why would you not want to be able to talk to the boss in an entertainment thing? What if you got cool ideas? What if you, oh, no, you don't want to do that. So I said no. And every day I went in there, I made it a mission. I would start my day. I would go into his office, and we would talk, and we would catch up. And then before I left home, I would purposely go in there, and we would recap the day. We got along great for the first while. Then you start seeing things, and then you start getting testimonies from people of the rotten things that are being done, and workers are telling me the rotten things that they're being told to do on company time at that. And you as a good person, you're thinking, I got to do something. And then the other hand says, no, this is like, no, this can't be true. You can't, this isn't real. Like, this isn't real. Like, there's no way these things are happening. Okay? So, yeah, it's, he's not liked. He's not liked by people there. At least he wasn't, you know, when I was there. And I got to see a first look why. And, it's not Rob. Rob's a great dude. I love Rob. Rob's always giving it to me straight. I'll respect a man that can give me bad news straight, that doesn't lie to my face. Rob is a stud. So, at least in my opinion, I've never had issues with him. He's always been a good guy to me, and I won't trash talk him. He's always was upfront. He gave me a lot of opportunities. I have no issues there. Are we seeing the problem here? When I started talking, everybody in the chat started with, it's Joe, it's Joey, it's Rob. No. It's none of them. It's the guy that nobody talks about. That's who's the problem, right? And my battle there is done. I don't know how the company's structured. Look, man, I never wanted to do it. In my mind, sometimes I had these vengeful thoughts that I wanted to, you're just mad. You just want to, this can't be, it can't be like this. I keep all my phones. I have all my text messages. I have all my emails. This isn't if somebody were to see this and then I hope they would have the decency to, let's talk together. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm lying, or you think anything I'm saying is not true, then we can talk, but a rebuttal without talking to me is great. And knowing damn well that I have the messages from, when I say everybody wanted him down, to the point where I was asked to take over that seat. That is, I was asked to please help resurrect and save this. We know what's been going on is wrong. Please take over that seat, was what was the ultimate goal. And when you go in as a fan, as a Juggalo, and you're loving it, and you get into that, and you peel back the layers, and I'm like, guys, this is not right. This is fucked up. And I was the only one that would, stand toe to toe and look him in his eye. Hey, explain this, okay? So I've done it. I've looked evil in its eyes, okay? So it was so crazy when somebody sent me the clip of the crazy bad talking of Al. There's so much hate towards Al. Maybe he was a bad guy. I don't know him, right? I know him as much as you guys did. We had a couple conversations. But when you look at stats, like, he was, as a CEO, fucking, you can't say that dude didn't put up numbers. How many platinum records? How many gold records? I mean, it created that lore. And listening to his stories, where he was like, I wonder if I come on your show and be public, like, and show that I'm here to love. Like, I would love to sit down and go over everything and help where I can help. But that was never it. It just went back to the status quo. And like I said, a lot of people in this community that I think I've helped, whether it's personal life or streamers or things like that, there's a lot turn their back on me, and they don't fuck with me to this day, right? And that's whatever. You're going to do your thing. I'm never going to not try to do the right thing. I'm someone that, like, I lay down at bed at night, and I might not want to do the right thing and just ignore it, but my brain doesn't let me work like that. My brain is like, you can't just not stick up for people. You can't just not do that thing, right? And that's the tough part. So if doing the right thing was easy, everybody would do it, right? We've heard that saying, and that holds true. That holds true to this. So I do appreciate everybody that stood by for this. And when I said that the day after Alex was here, I said there's a big thing. It's so much bigger than what you guys are even can comprehend. You haven't seen the things that I've seen. You haven't been told the things that I've been told. You haven't been in those meetings. You don't know how rotten that system is. You don't even have a fucking clue, and you shouldn't. The problem is it exists, and at that point nobody was doing anything about it, and I'm watching something horrible unfold in front of my eyes, and I can't live like that. I won't live like that, and there was more rumors strewed about. There was this rumor that, this one broke my heart, that I stole money from the Shaggy and the Creep thing, and that was the reason for the fallout. And I thought that was a stupid rumor that somebody came up with. Then I realized it was started from behind the scenes. And I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that the same people that asked me to save them from how the company was, that rode by my side, that I was so transparent with every step of the way, I did not want to believe that those people would truly tell people behind the scenes at that, by the way, that don't fuck with Kegan, he's a thief. He stole money. Then it gets leaked out to the community here, and Kegan's a big thief. He stole money. Guys, of that bank account, I was, in my 3 years there, I was, and mind you, multiple shows, multiple podcasts, multiple, we had brand deals, we had sponsorships. $0 was transferred to my bank account from that company. $0. Now, the argument that was made was there's a whole legal thing that goes behind it, going back to Psychopathic, that I sold my business to help when everybody asked to help. I quickly sold my portion of the business for pennies on the dollar because this was going to be the plan moving forward. And I gave up that. Everything went even worse than expected when I was there at Psychopathic full time. That then we branched off and did our own thing. So I was literally, the COVID hits. If you guys remember, our first vlog drops January 2020. We're filming, we're doing all these things. COVID hits March. Okay, I was actually let go, and we decided to go our separate ways on the official Juggalo day, February 17th, 2020. Love Rob to death. Called me into his office, and he's like, I don't know what's going on, but whatever was happening, they're asking that, I guess we have to let you go. And we had a long talk, and I give him credit. Like I said, that's a man. That's someone, he wasn't even involved in this and could look me in my eyes, and he had to do the dirty work of somebody else. That should have been me and the CEO having that talk about him letting me go. But it wouldn't happen, right? It wouldn't happen that way. So we went our separate ways, and we decided, hey, we're going to still rock Shaggy and the Creep and do this. So I had created the Twitch account for Shaggy and the Creep because we were locked in COVID. We couldn't go anywhere and film. And I'm like, we got all this momentum. We're doing these episodes. Everybody's loving it. This is totally taking me out of the darkest depths of what I was dealing with. And I have some joy again in my life, starting to feel some joy. And OGs, I know Slit's one of them, for example. Man, when I would stream, I created that channel. There was like maybe 3 people. Then there was 5 people. Then there was 10 people, So that money, it was attached to my name because I set it up for me, right? But I was always transparent with it. There was just no point I could have ever stolen it. Everybody had access to the stuff. And even when I was accused of things, I said, look, we'll go through the receipts. I got them. We can go through everything, So that notion that's out there, and I would never bring this up, but unfortunately it has dragged my name through the mud, and there is people behind the scenes that truly believe that I'm some thief that stole money. I would like to say, if that is the truth, we could do it publicly. We could do it behind closed doors. We could have that meeting in front of cameras. There's a lot of things I could bring up. I don't want the stigma of being labeled a thief. That's one of the worst things you can be labeled. Never have I been labeled that in my life, ever. Okay? I've never been a perfect person by any means. Thief, that ain't one of them. And I ain't gonna let nobody lie on my name. It ain't never gonna happen. Okay? So if anybody feels otherwise or feels they got concrete evidence, please, by all means, bring it to me. We can meet, we can talk, I can go over some. I have questions I would like to ask as well. I have a lot of them, as a matter of fact. So there was that to deal with, right? So you're having these problems, and this is just work. During this time, I had to be the caretaker for my grandmother who was going through dementia. So in the midst of this, I'm taking care of her. I'm working to get the family house back, to try to set that up. Me and K Rage are working our ass off. So I'm dealing with that, selling my portion of a business that I really got to grow for pennies on the dollar because this was such a code red emergency. Switching your life over, fighting this fight. It was a war, guys. This is like, when I say it's ugly, it's ugly. It's horrible, and I'm not going to go into details right now. If that time comes, so be it. That's not the moral of today's message. Dealing with that, then going through, you know, whatever that was at the end. That wasn't who we were. You know what I'm saying? That isn't how you do things. I think my last text I ever received from Joey was a Merry Christmas. I wished him a Merry Christmas. This was after we split, a couple days after Hallowicked 2022. So that Christmas was, I think, the last text I ever sent. I said Merry Christmas. He said Merry Christmas to you and yours, with a little Christmas tree emoji. And we haven't spoken since. There was these rumors of me being a thief or a monster. Why would there be so much love there at the end? You know what I'm saying? Why would there be that? So that doesn't make sense. And I'm not a thief. I didn't steal anything. I didn't do anything malicious. And everybody knows that. But I do feel whatever happened, there's a lot that I don't know. There's a lot that used to keep me up at night when I think about scenarios of why. I'm like you guys. I'm in the dark just as much as you guys. Not saying things were perfect, man. We were stressed. Josh was stressed. He was not in a good spot. I was not in a good spot mentally. And I want to take a lot of responsibility for that, because as a leader, and I know better. That's why I said 2018, bro, going into these problems, I handled them different. It was like you were getting hit from every angle, and I was up to my head in shit, you know? And for everybody, you know, I see the big picture. We can fix this. We can make this right. Like, I hated when I was social media manager, the messages, the comments I would get about these, and most of them were right. Like, most of them were right. Like, the merch setup sucked. It was horrible. It was absolutely, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You know, it was so bad to where there was somebody that hit me up and they said, this is what's happening. And I didn't believe them. And to prove them wrong, to prove this person wrong, I went and bought the merch drop me and Josh came up with. Didn't tell nobody. I created a separate account. I bought the merch. And I'm like, I'm going to get it. There's going to be no problems. Guys, a month went by. 2 months went by. I reached out to the company we're working with. And I'm like, hey, I'm not getting what I paid for. I'm working here. And I tested the system. And I'm getting fucked. And when I saw that, I felt so bad for the fucking, like, you understand, the Juggalos are like, this scene is, it's going to be looked back at and be studied as one of the most beautiful, you can't explain it. And there should be such high regard taken in quality and making sure people are taken care of and taking complaints and problems seriously. And it wasn't being done. And that pissed me off. And when you log in every day and I'm excited for something, but then you get a million things, and most of the time they were right. And I hated that they were right because I wanted to prove this guy wrong. Like, dude, you're trolling. I got fucked out of my own money for a merch drop that I came up with, that Josh designed. And now that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? So that was the tipping point, and I just anger, and I'm like, how can this happen? How is everybody here? I come to work every day. Everybody's miserable. Everybody's in a bad mood. Like, this isn't family. This isn't. If this is a family, this is a fucked up one. We need to sit down and talk. And I've talked to employees that have worked there before I was there. The employees that I were there, seeing it, hearing it from my brothers. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe it. I still don't want to believe it. It can't be that bad. And it was. There was, you know, it's like I was trying to fight for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I swear to God, that I was fighting for everybody, man. And the solution is poor leadership. It's poor leadership. I'm not pinning it on not saying there wasn't bad. There's some rotten employees there too that I may or may not still be to this day. Not saying that. But it starts at the top. You set the precedent at the top. And think about it. Take me back to the Alex era. Take me back to the first 6. For OG Juggalos, are you going to tell me that era wasn't a beautiful, amazing thing? If it wasn't for that era, this what it's on now, it's running off the fumes of that. It's not what it was back then. I don't care what nobody says. Like, you're lying to yourself, okay? So take your emotion out of it. Take your feelings out of it. If I was to say this was company XYZ and it was ran by John Smith and I told you these same stories with different names, not attached to your personal feelings, you would be saying, that's fucked up. That's stupid. How could it be like that? And then it's like anything. It's like people that follow politicians. It's like people that follow to a cult, like when your identity is based on something else that you can't control, it's a slippery slope. And the problem is this scene was such a beautiful one, and it's gone downhill. It's not the same. Everybody hates everybody. There's multiple cliques. I can't even keep up with the cliques, right? There's this camp doesn't like this camp, and I can't listen to this artist because this guy doesn't listen to this artist. And, I didn't even know, but now they hate this guy, so this person. And then this group of people say that one is a bad group because they did something bad. And everybody just hates everybody. And it starts at the top. You have to set the precedent. That is your job as a CEO. You got to rally the troops. You got to get everyone in order. You have to be a boss. You have to care about the company. You have to care about your customers. You have to care about your community. And when the top doesn't care, why should anybody else underneath not care? Is this just like, am I making sense? So the issue starts at the top. And here's the thing. The people behind the scenes, I have it all in here. Everything's in here. Every text message, every late night message from family members of said people. Kegan, please, I know it's horrible. I know what you're going through. Don't give up. We need you. I have it all. Everybody begged me to save it. It has been so bad for so long, and nobody says anything. And in my brain, I was like, they can't keep getting away with it. It can't. And that's where my brain was stuck. Even to a couple months ago, I would wake up in the middle of the night. When I would take a shower, I would be scrubbing my hair, and I'm like, I can't, and it would just, it's just that. It's like everything, I focus on everything. I got to the root of so many problems. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, there's a screenshot in here that I look at and it pisses me off. It makes my fucking blood boil. It makes me sick to my core, and it's like it's bad. It's just like, and there shouldn't be. And I don't want the hate targeted towards. There shouldn't be. We should never lead with hate, anyways. Let me just preface that. But there has to be change. My time's up. I've given everything that I had. I have removed myself. Look, the forces that be do not want me there. You are not going to see me on a reunion show. You are not going to see me at a gathering, at a concert. So I know a lot of people ask that. That isn't how this works. That isn't how this happens. It will be ignored. You get the blip effect. Hopefully things skate by. Am I saying I'm perfect? No. Fuck no. There's things looking back that I wish I did different, that I wish I would have handled a little different. I wasn't perfect. But man, I'll tell you what, and I promise you, and I swear to you, every blinking moment of being there, it was fighting for everybody. From everybody at the top that should be taken care of and respected. You know, I could do a whole episode, a deep dive, focusing in on a lot of these things. And I don't want to do that today. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, because I don't care anymore. I don't care. And that leads me to what happened this week. So that's a small portion, right? Like, I kind of filled you guys in. And some of you guys might be saying, why? Why are you saying that right now? Why are you bringing all this up? This is, bro, you're talking about shit from 2019, 2020, bro. Like, let it go. You sound like a crazy ex-girlfriend. Let it go. I see that argument. Okay? The problem is, and you guys know this in the chat, I have told you every instance of my life, from my childhood, from, you know, the history of growing up. Look, I had a mother that was addicted to drugs. I was raised by my grandmother. I can openly talk about that. I can talk about horrible sex stories. I can be open with you about my sex life. I can talk to you about things that happen in the moment as they're happening. But there's always been this dark cloud over really talking to you guys about the truth from 2019 to the end of 2022. It's like, it's metaphorically, if you guys live in my life, I spill my brain to you. I'm not afraid to talk about anything. There's nothing that I'm ashamed, that I'm like some deep dark secret I hide. There's things I'm disappointed in myself for, sure, you know, but there's nothing that I don't mind sharing, you know. But that, and it was always walking on eggshells. It's always walking on eggshells with it. And I felt like I was starting to lie to you guys. Like, some people would, it's not even you guys were being dicks or prying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how that makes me feel as a man, that some of you guys spent your time, your hard-earned money buying merch from what I was doing with my face on it. You know, you invested so much time, energy. You were blowing us up doing what we were doing at Shaggy and the Creep. And when you ask me why, I can't give you an answer. I can't give you the full, because I don't know the full answer. I've got speculation and things like that, but I always said, man, me and Josh pitched the idea the very last time we saw Shaggy, where we said he was at my house, he come to pick up some things. This is after, you know, it was said that they wanted to end the show. And, you know, I was pissed off. Josh was pissed off. And Joey was in a good mood. Like, he was happy, not in like bragging. He was like, he had so much love in his heart. And I remember I was like, I don't agree. I don't know what's happening. I don't agree. Like, we should just do one last, I don't care if it's over. I don't beg nobody to stay in my life, but I think we owe it to everybody to do like an episode. Explain. Better than like a fucking tweet or a fucking, you know, like, some people went and got shit tattooed on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. This feels like such a cop-out, you know? And the last words physically that I spoke to him, we were in my last house, we were doing the podcast, and we were going to carry the boxes. Him and Manny were there. And we stood at the doorway, and he said, I'm not leaving your house until both you guys give me a hug. And we group hugged. Me, Josh, Joey, we grabbed each other, we hugged each other, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? It was, I don't have a hatred there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's mad at me for, I don't know. Nobody talks. Nobody fucking talks. And that's the problem. But it felt like I felt like such a bitch for not being able to tell you guys, and I got to skate on ice. And I got to walk on eggshells. You know what I'm saying? It's not, bro, and I want to, listen to me. Me and Joe, sure. Me and Violent J, I don't think he likes me. I know he doesn't like me. But he didn't like me when it got real ugly. When I talked to Violent J sober, and I would talk to him, and we would have a lot of long talks one-on-one in that office. And he spilled his heart out to me, and I spilled mine out to him multiple times. And when he was sober, and he didn't have his face paint on, and I was talking to Joe Bruce, the man with a clear conscience, there's a lot of love in that man's heart. There is a lot of love in that man's heart. And we had a lot of good talks. The problem is I started to see him not sober. And when you're not sober, you don't think straight. And when you don't think straight and you've got people in your ear and you've got people funneling it, that's not a real friend. When a friend has, and this also leads to what I'm going to tell you guys here in a little bit about my life. When you see a friend that's battling some demons and they're under the substance, you know, they're not sober, they're not well, they're not thinking. I've had this happen to me multiple times. You don't enable them. I don't care if they scream blue bloody murder. I don't care if they hate you. I don't care if they threaten you. You don't do it. You don't, like, that's not what a friend does. Like, I can't look at you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't look at you as a man. Look at your family. Look at what you mean to so many people. Look at all the talents you have, all the memories and the moments we have, and allow you or enable you to keep doing that. I can't do it, and I won't do it. So, if that means, hey, take me away from a seat at the table, that's cool. I don't need to be at that table. Don't surround me with people who enable that, who know what's going on, who know what's wrong, and turn the blind eye. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ugly, guys. It's ugly. And I never wanted to really speak because it's like keeping Santa Claus alive, right? To kids. That's how I would always describe it to my friends behind the scenes here. Like, because we have a lot of talks, you know, we're always talking. The boys are yapping. But now, for the first time, I can honestly say to you guys, like, I am at peace. So today, this wasn't meant to be a hit piece. This wasn't meant to, like, arm the troops and he's mad and I needed to paint the picture for you guys and be honest with you about some of the things I haven't been being honest about, that I've been living with regret about, that, like, I don't want to say because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I'm not afraid of anybody. Don't get me wrong. There is nobody there. There is nobody here that I fear. That is just, do not mix that up. But it's also the thing of being a good person, of trying to fight that good fight behind the scenes and doing it with what's there so people can still enjoy themselves. I want people to be happy, you know? But sometimes things got to get a little ugly before they get better, right? So I'm not here to preach, do none of that. Try to dig up old graves, if you will. But it did bother me that I can talk to you guys about anything in my life from my childhood up until what K-Ray, which I forgot, made for dinner tonight, except a 4 or 5 year stretch is real murky. I feel like I gotta watch what I say. I don't watch what I say. I'm not a malicious person. I don't lead with ill intent, and for a while I think I was. If I'm being honest with you guys, I think in my mind I was so mad. I was so mad that so many people turned their back. I was so mad that everybody there knew what we were fighting for. Everybody, and I've got proof to back it all up. And it was clear as day. We all were fighting for the same thing, and then one day, that fight, we lost. That's what it was. In my eyes, we lost. And we had it on the ropes. I think it was the closest it was ever going to get. And all this stuff happening. So no, I don't want there to be room. This isn't Kegan hates Joe. Kegan hates Joey. No, I don't. And I would look them in the eyes today. I love them. I really do. Was I mad? Yes. Am I mad about certain things? Sure. But if they were fucking hanging off the side of a building holding on with their hands and I was on that roof, I'm going to pick them up. And that's the moral of this. And I think a lot of people, whatever you're dealing with, you can be mad at people. You can be mad. You can be upset. Fucked up things can happen to you. But I think it is important to forgive the little things. And you're not in everybody's shoes. You're not. You know what I'm saying? So I can say, I got nothing to hide. Like, when somebody came in and said, no, you know, you're mad at Jay. No. I've had a few. Not much. Like, I didn't know him that well, but I did know him pretty good enough. And when he was sober and he was on his A game, the love that came out of that man, the love that he talked about with so many people, the love that he showed me and Josh and it even straight, you know, the mind piece, you know, like, man, we had some good plans, but when you see things and people are not sober, you also got to remember they're not the same person. And I was mad at somebody who that's not who he really is. But I'm mad at the system that's allowing that to happen. That's where my anger's targeted at. Right? That's truly what makes me mad. It's the system that enables and allows. I know there's people that are there's going to be people that watch this today that are not going to like me and they're going to unfollow, and it ain't the first time, it ain't going to be the last time. That's life. I always said, if you can't handle a little bit of criticism or haters, social media content creation, it ain't for you. You know, it ain't for you. That comes with the territory. Anything you do entertainment-wise, right? It's tough because this is a different scene. This is a scene that pride itself on the word family, right? And it just hasn't, in my opinion, in my eyes, it hasn't felt like a great family on a lot of aspects. And I can't control that. You know what I'm saying? I can't control all that. Here in this community, and the people that are here, I think we're studs. Like, I think we're rock stars. I think, you know, you guys might not know this, but I owe you, and I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart, man. I owe you guys a big thank you. Everybody that's watching this right now, or will watch it on the VOD that isn't a hater, because everybody else turned their back at me. And I know I led with the purest intentions. Was the execution always A1? No. I was in over my fucking head. Okay? Josh, thank you for the sub too. Thank Bosley for the Ray Mads gifted a sub. I'm so sorry, man. Funny as hell. Thank you for the resubby. I'm sorry, but I told you guys, man. I didn't want to do it on the Switch 2 day. And I didn't want to first stream back, you know what I'm saying, be like that. But it was the Switch 2. We had to pivot gears. I mean, come on, you know? But seriously, though, like, with all due respect, like, I love you guys, and, like, super, super thank you for being the ones that weren't afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people slandered my name behind the scenes that I'm just now finding out about, which I do got to make a couple calls. A lot of people turned their back, and a lot of people that did are the same people that knew I was the only one that had theirs. And that was the part that hurt. That was the part that I lived with. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the deep-rooted feelings there. But it starts at the top. And I also, with that, I have a lot of good memories. I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? I got to sit with two of the most beautiful, artistic, been there before minds. I got to pick some brains of my idols, and I'll never take that for granted. At all. There will always be a love in my heart there. But the leadership is bad. It's horrible. You cannot like me. You cannot agree with my stance on things. You can hate me. You can do whatever. I don't want you to ever be able to call me a liar. A liar or a thief. Okay? Those two, I don't want to be called that. And I started feeling kind of like a liar to you guys. Because I'll be open up about everything. But for whatever reason, you know, I felt I couldn't be honest about everything. And that's not me. That's not who I am. I don't operate like that. So again, you might not like how I operate, and that's fine. Teach their own. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but to me, that's how I work. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid to sit down and talk. I think we need a lot more of that in this scene, and I mean across the board. I mean the world could use it. You know, it's you know, and when you're not doing that in the way that I would have liked to, or I was pissed off that in that whole instance, here I was. We were in the thick of it. We were in the fucking lion's den. I looked the beast in his eyes day after day, went in there. I knew what the problem was. And we couldn't, at the end, it didn't go how it was supposed to go. And right now, I know what I got to focus on. And I got to be better. You know, I got to be better in so many ways, and it's a never-ending journey. You know, I got a long fucking way to go. But, it is what it is, man. You know, can't hold on to it. So, exactly. Live from what's happening now. You know, and I was guilty of that. But my biggest thing and why I wanted to tell you guys, like I said, is I just felt a guilt. You know, I felt a guilt that I was holding stuff back from you guys. And how can I sit here and practice and tell everybody that I'm transparent and I'm upfront and I don't lie and I'm not a liar, but yet I'm not being truthful with you guys about it. You know, I've been dealing with that problem for a long time. You know what I'm saying? A long, long time. Yeah, there's definitely, it's weird. There is like a closure. There definitely is. There definitely is. And this isn't, man, like I said, I don't want it to be confused with everything I said today that to boycott. Oh, they're bad. No. That isn't the message at all. I want you to go where you want to go. I want you to love what you love doing. You know, this is just my story. You know what I'm saying? And I'm allowed to tell it.